What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit of a data mine that we have. It is a little bit strange because I logged onto Twitter this morning and I saw this post from a Japanese player, and he mentioned that there's new icons in here that were not here before, and if you actually filter the character log by character, you can see that UTA is one of the new characters, which we kind of thought was going to happen. And then Perona is also going to be another character that's debuting here too. Now, the thing is like, yeah, okay, a Perona makes sense because the original, like, video that they posted with Halloween UTA way back when, Perona did feature in that clip. The thing is, though, is that this is actually 6+ Halloween Perona, which is pretty crazy, which is this character right here, 3454. This character is going to be super evolving in this event period for Halloween. So I think that's cool. I think we all wanted to see at least one Halloween character get a super evolution. Though I do feel like there were other characters that probably deserved it. I think Halloween Shanks is the character that needed it the most. He wasn't really that good on release, and he kind of needed a bit of a buff. A bit unfortunate that he didn't get one, and probably would have worked really well with the most recently released Roger character, but either way, I digress. We're going to talk about these two new units, because the thing is we don't have any visuals for what this character looks like. We do have their abilities, though, which is interesting. So, shout out to our resident data miner here, Brandon, for putting this in the chat here. So we're going to go ahead and break down all of these brand new units. So we have Halloween UTA, Happy Halloween UTA, 6-star character. Cerebral Driven is the classes, and she is a Dex character. Her captain ability, it says at the start of the adventure, reduce cooldown by 1, so pretty typical. It increases the attack of Dex, Int, Cerebral, and Driven characters by 5 times, and then 1.2 times HP and recovery. So not terrible, and it does boost a pretty wide variety of characters. Like, boosting 2 different colors and 2 different classes gives you quite a lot of variety in terms of the way you can build this character as a captain. She also treats strength slots as beneficial for characters with the same attribute and type. When attacking in a good sequence, boost the attack of characters by 5.75 from then on. So this is very interesting. So you have to hit a good, and then you get 5.75 times attack. So that's a pretty big difference, going from 5 to 5.75. But having to hit in good sequence is pretty frustrating. It means that characters that are able to apply chain locks are going to be really good with UTA. We saw this with Gil Tesoro. Gil Tesoro has an inbuilt chain lock effect anyway, but a character that requires you to hit anything other than perfect means that your chain is never going to really be that high. So you really want to try and abuse chain mechanics with a character such as this to ensure that your damage isn't compromised. Moving on from that, though, it does make blindness completely removed on the crew, so that's a neat effect. And then it also has this added effect. It says, adds an extra effect immediately after using a special based on your current HP after activation. So it says, if your HP is 50% or below, it reduces defense up by 5 turns and attack down by 5 turns. When HP exceeds 50%, this effect can be reactivated up to a maximum of 2 times. So I'm not 100% sure what it means by this exactly. Maybe like this can only happen once per quest, but if you're above 50%, it gives you like 2 more opportunities to potentially fall below 50% to get this to work. All in all, I don't even like this whole effect to begin with, because this just adds another layer of complexity that just doesn't need to be there. Like, straight up, it should just be remove 5 turns of defense whenever the enemy inflicts it, or like remove 5 turns of attack down and then like have another effect to remove 5 turns of defense. Having to have an HP threshold on this is kind of annoying. You already have to hit in good sequences in order to get the major attack boost, and now you're adding an HP restriction as well. Like, this just seems like a bit much. I know that visually this is going to be a character that a lot of people want to get their hands on, but captain ability wise, I'm not the biggest fan. But I will say that, you know, if you use her correctly, you know, if you fall below 50% HP, you use a special ability to remove 5 turns of defense and attack down, that legit could be pretty useful. But it is a little bit strange the way that they've kind of structured it. We'll move on to the special. It says 21 turns. This is the base level, so this will go down to probably 15, 14, 13 in that range. The special ability will go ahead and remove 5 turns of silence. Now, this is translated from Japanese because this was, we got the info from the Japanese side. Now, I don't know if the silence refers to silence as it stands in the global version, where it regards you can't perform an action on your character, whether it be switching, using a captain action, using a special, etc., or if this silence refers to special bind. I assume, just from the wording that we have here, that it's going to be silence, which is the newer mechanic introduced into the game, and if that is the case, this is a good thing, because we have a lot of characters that remove special bind, we don't have a lot of characters that remove silence, so I think that's actually not too bad. It also reduces damage reduction, Rainbow Shield, by 7 turns, and then for 1 turn boosts your chain multiplier for the tap timing chain growth rate of Cerebral and Driven by up to 0.7. So it says if you hit a good, it will increase by 0.7, great 0.2, perfect 0.6. Now this is a fantastic way to circumvent the issue that can occur with the Captain ability, where as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have if you're consistently attacking other than perfect, your chain is not going to be that high. But what this special does is it means if you do perform those goods, your chain is not going to be compromised at all. You're going to have a very, very good chain multiplier, even if you have to tap in the good sequences to achieve the 5.75 times attack. But if you think about this outside of using her as a captain, in terms of what this special is providing for you, it's not terrible. You know, silence removal, rainbow shield removal, tap timing chain growth rate, and then it also says if you attack with a good sequence, boost the attack of cerebral and driven characters by 2.25 for successful taps on the next attacking turn. So it looks like when you perform the special ability, you don't get an attack boost. It's an attack boost that will occur the turn afterwards. So I don't know how good that's actually going to be. That's kind of annoying that it is that way, but at least it does have quite a decent amount of good utility, and then it does have potential to give you some damage increasing effects, but it's not really wowing me. It is confirmed, by the way, that this is going to be a generically released character. This is a normal red character, so once this event period concludes, the month afterwards, this character should be available in normal red tickets. So you don't have like a FOMO kind of situation where you have to get this character or you're never going to get them for like another 6 months. It's nothing like that. This character will be available, readily available in a lot of legend tickets moving forward once the event period does conclude. Moving on from that, her crewmate ability adds 75 base attack for Dex in Cerebral Driven, that's fine, and also fully negates the Blinders debuff as a crewmate, so that's cool, we love that. Now, in terms of her Pirate Rumble kit, actually, one thing that isn't listed here is her super type, because she does have super class. Yeah, super class. So her super class effect, you need to trigger 2 special abilities in order to get this to work, so that is a little annoying, especially because when you've got that effect in her captain, where it says that if your HP, like, it's based on your HP launch, and the fact is you have to launch 2 specials before you can use it, because if you have a look at the effect of it, it reduces HP by 50%, ignoring delay immunity and status effect immunity, delaying all enemies for 1 turn. So it's cool that it does a health cut, which puts you below that 50% threshold, so that when you use a special ability, it will grant you the beneficial buffs by using UTA's captain. But in order to get this to launch, you need to use 2 other specials. So it's a little annoying in that regard, unless if you go ahead and start the adventure with the Moby Dick ship, which starts you at 50% health. That's probably going to be the best way to use this character. It also reduces cerebral and driven characters cooldown by 2 turns. That's really good. And then increase attack of cerebral and driven characters by 2.5 for 3 turns, and transforms cerebral into super cerebral. That's a really good super class, all things considered. Very, very good. It's just using this is kind of annoying because you need to use 2 specials in order to get it to work. It could be pretty annoying. In terms of potential abilities, has 5 turns of heal block removal, 5 turns of, I think this is fear reduction, and also has 10 turns of slot bind removal. So pretty typical abilities. No final tap, super tandem, rush, etc. So you don't need duplicates or anything like that. And then we move on to the rumble stuff. So her rumble ability gives attack, speed, and defense level 6 to Dex. That's already really good. And if you've got 5 or more Dex allies on the crew, it increases the special CT increase by level 3. That's also really good. This is a really, really high level Pirate Rumble ability. The only problem is that Dex is already pretty difficult to kind of get into right now. Dex already has phenomenal characters. I don't think this character is going to find a way onto Dex teams just because Dex is already so good, but we'll see. Her Rumble special is 29 CT, and it boosts the attack by level 7, boosts speed by level 7, defense level 4 to all Dex allies for 20 seconds. That's very good statistical increases. And then it reduces the special charge time for 3 characters on your crew with the lowest charge, excluding themselves, by 30%, and grants a level 3 shield for 20 seconds. So the way this is worded, I think the level 3 shield goes on these 3 characters that have the lowest charge. She does have 29 CT, so I don't know how good this is going to be in terms of the timing of everything, but it seems like an okay special ability. Definitely, you know, it's a supporter role character, so I don't know how good this is going to be, but at face value, I just don't think she has a spot on the Dex team. Obviously, if you don't have some of those high-level characters, then yes, you can definitely build around this. But if you hypothetically have a fully optimized Dex team, is this character going to make way on that team? I don't think so, unfortunately. Her Rebel Resistance, she is immune to Special Seal, and then also 30% damage reduction versus Quick. So she seems like just okay, honestly. Like, she's not a character that I think a lot of people are going to be that excited for. She seems relatively fine. I think that this is a character you can definitely skip. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We do know that there is a Blitz Battle coming up starting on Halloween. So I am going to assume that the Blitz Battle is fully focused on Halloween celebrations rather than the 10.5 anniversary with Roger. But again, we'll have to wait and see. So, the other thing that came out is the fact that we do know that the next character who is coming alongside the UTA is going to be Halloween Perona's Super Evolution. Now, for those of you who kind of forgot what this character was all about, this character was kind of focused on granting conditional boosts. She had a really good slot change, and then would give you a conditional boost against characters inflicted with multiple different effects. So if the enemy is delayed, has a negative status, has defense reduction, has a poison, strong poison, or toxic, it's a 2x conditional boost for 3 turns. She also granted really good chain lock for 3 turns, and then if you're below the 80% threshold, it would give you the negative debuff on the opponent that goes through full immunity. If you already had a chain lock, it would extend the duration of it and buff it. She actually was used in a decent amount of content, I feel. She was just a really good supporter role for giving you a lot of additional damage. And the good thing about it, she was shooter free spirit, so she was used in high damage teams for sure because she's free spirit. She had good synergy there. Not too many people were using her for her captain ability. That was definitely one of the downsides to this unit. And she wasn't really used that much in Rumble. She had some kind of usefulness, I suppose, because she did have pretty awesome debuffs towards enemies, but it would only target one enemy, which is the downside, right? So I don't think she's going to be used in Rumble all that much, but she had some interesting mechanics. So let's go ahead and have a look and see what she received with her Super Evolution. So Halloween Perona, she changes to Driven Shooter instead of Free Spirit. Ooh, that could be a bit of a debuff, honestly. I don't know how I feel about that one. I mean, I get why she does change to Driven, because now she does work with the new Halloween UTA that has just released, but getting rid of Free Spirit is a pretty big deal. It might actually be worth it maybe to keep an unevolved copy of Perona just in case you need one for Free Spirit. Probably not, but hey, you never know, right? You just never know. Let's have a look at the captain ability. So remember, when you get it to level limit break 3, she does get a buffed captain. The buffed captain gives -1 cooldown, attack boost of int, driven, and shooter by 4.25 with a 1.3 HP boost, so pretty low actually. It gives characters 1.3 times additional damage if the enemy has increased damage taken or negative status. If the enemy is delayed, poisoned, or any type of poison, defense down, they get an additional 1.25 times additional damage. Interesting. It says status effect does not stack with increased damage taken and the negative status. So basically what it says is if an enemy is delayed and has increased damage taken, it's not 1.25 multiplied by 1.3. Whichever one is present, it will take the higher version of. So if the enemy has increased damage taken and delayed, this one is disregarded and it's just 1.3 times, okay? So let's pull up the trusty calculator real quick. 4.25 times captain multiplied by 1.3, equating to a 5.525 times captain if they have one of those debuffs, okay? There is an additional effect. If you use the special, you get an additional effect based on your HP threshold. So if your HP is 50% or below, it will ignore immunity to status effects and give all enemies 1.75 times increased damage taken. Interesting. This effect can be activated again once HP goes above 50% up to 2 times. Okay, so if you're below 50%, you use a special ability, you get the increased damage taken through full immunity. That's pretty cool, I guess. Will that mean that she's going to see play? I don't think so, but hey, it's interesting nonetheless. Now, the special ability, remember that the special ability does also get buffed with level limit break, so this is the max possible special you can get. The effect will go ahead and poison all enemies. Pretty standard. Reduces damage immunity on all enemies by 2 turns. That's pretty cool. She didn't have that beforehand, so a little bit of utility is kind of cool. Negates slot-based attack reduction for the crew for 3 turns. That's interesting too. Slot-based attack reduction effect. Okay, so I think this is somewhat similar to like there's a rare recruit Mr. 1 that does this. That's like, you know, for 3 turns or 2 turns, whenever a slot would be counted as a badly matching slot, it basically counts it as a neutral slot. So if you get a block slot, it would basically, instead of being like minus damage, it would basically count as a neutral slot. I believe that this is the wording for this, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, this seems, it's a little bit niche anyway. This effect is very, very niche. It will also convert badly matching slots, empty, block, bomb, meat, and G slots all into matching, which is good. For 2 turns, increases damage dealt to enemies that have a poison, a delay, any type of poison, defense down, increased damage taken, or negative status for 2.5 times. So the conditional boost is a 2-turn, 2.5 time conditional. It sets the chain multiplier initial value to 2.75 to a max of 30, also for 2 turns, so very good chain boundary effect. If your HP is 50% or below when you launch the special, it ignores immunity and inflicts the enemies with a negative status for 1 turn, okay. And will also extend the crew's damage taken up and chain multiplier lock status effects by 1 turn. I believe this is in regards to if you're below 50% health. So if you use the special when you're below 50%, the increased or the conditional boost and the chain locks will be extended by 1 turn. Okay. If we have a look at the base version of the Perona here, Perona, when you launch the special, no matter what, you are always getting a conditional boost for 3 turns. You're always getting a chain lock for 3 turns. So now what they've done is that it's only for 2 turns. The chain and the conditional boost are higher multiplier, but they're only for 2 turns. But they can be 3 turns if you're below 50% HP. Interesting. It's just a different build. Honestly, the way that I see it, I think just judging from what I've seen thus far, it is much better to have 2 Peronas, 1 for 6+, 1 for 6-star, because they do have different conditions, which may be useful, and also the fact that they have different classes is a big thing. But anyways, we do need to have a look at the super type for this character as well. So the super type says, again, it triggers after 2 specials have been activated. How did Perona beforehand get this to work? Her effect said this character must be the captain and use special ability 2 times. Okay, so it's the exact same. Okay, that's no problem then. The super type itself ignores immunity and inflicts negative status on the enemy for 10 turns. Okay, so that just triggers your ability to, when you use the special ability, you'll be able to get the conditional boost, but also it makes her captain ability get the highest possible multiplier. It also allows the chain multiplier lock effects to receive 2 boosts and further increase them by 0.25. Okay, that's pretty decent. And then converts type slots into matching and transforms int into super int. It's a pretty decent super type special. Again, you need to use 2 different specials in order to actually get it to activate, but it is what it is. And then the rumble stuff is also kind of interesting because you can see here, it now will go ahead and give level 6 attack, HP, and defense to shooters. Beforehand, she was actually focused on buffing int. So yeah, 5 attack, 5 health, 3 defense to int. So now that's all of this, but buff numbers to shooters instead. Unfortunately, this character still kind of has a pretty mediocre special ability, reducing the attack by level 20 for 1 character with the highest attack, reduce level 20 defense to the highest defense enemy, and reduce 20 speed to the highest speed enemy, all for 20 seconds. And then it gives your shooter characters a 3 times recovery heal. Just doesn't do enough, honestly. This character is not going to see play unless if there is some kind of bulky, weird defense shooter team, I guess. But the thing is that this character is int, I believe. It still stays as int. Yeah, so you can't really use S-Bear with this because S-Bear gets the benefits when you don't have int characters on your team. If you're running a shooter team, you probably want to run S-Bear, so you can't use this with S-Bear, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the way that I kind of see this is I would honestly want to keep a 6-star version of Perona and then have a 6-star plus version that I can have as well. We'll see how this actually comes out because we're not too sure exactly how we acquire the Super Evolution Skulls yet for Perona. And we have Halloween UTA, of course, which I think is just a very mediocre character that, yes, is going to help you with the Halloween celebration, but outside of that, you're just never going to use this character, I feel. I'm sure that the special animation and the artwork are going to look really cool for this unit, but I feel like people need to save their gems for New Year's because that's just the best thing to do at this point. You just don't need to pull on these banners at all. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, though. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.